All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Meeting of the Ways and Means Committee, Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded by the Ways and Means Committee. If any of the persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Big crap, okay. All right, we'll start with a roll call of members. Councilor May Toronzo, yes, I'm here. Councilor Bottomley. Here. Councilor Master Tito. Here. Councilor Brown.
Here.
Councilor Perry.
Present.
All right. We can go with the approval of minutes from January 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion.
All
Approve
right.
the minutes.
Do I have a second? Second. Is there any questions, discussion, on said minutes? All right.
People are in the waiting list, by the way.
Oh,
Come on, John.
understand.
Oh, pressure him in his first meeting.
All right. So that being said, I think we're all here in person, so we can just do vote by hands. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Right. It's all five, so I'm not asking the other part. Public comment. As is now, I guess, required by the charter ordinance. Stephanie's there.
Let me admit her here.
Yep. I see two members of the pub. Well, you guys are members of the public too, but anybody have any public comments tonight? Because the sign up sheet is there and empty. Either of you folks online?
Raise our hand.
Not tonight, thanks.
Did you say she's good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. All right, well, then public comment is now closed. There are no public hearings tonight. So we'll start with the first motions of the night. Get to that page. This. Gonna be on the table for us tomorrow. Order number FY 25041. In order to repurpose funds from the high school. Oh, sorry, no. I'll skip one.
Or say you jumped one.
Just.
Right here.
Figured it.
There it is.
I don't know.
Hey.
Their turn.
Order FY 25037. City Council, upon recommendation of the Mayor DeSorger, in order to transfer $8,000 from Veterans Department ordinary benefits to the Veterans Department monument account. Move that it be ordered the City Council approves the transfer of the sum of $8,000 from Veterans Department ordinary benefits to the Veterans Department monument account to fund monument purchase. Majority vote will be required. I guess I read the motion, so that's me, right? Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion on this? Seemed pretty straightforward. Yep.
Yes.
All those in favor of a positive recommendation?
Aye.
Aye.
Counselor, this item is last on the agenda and we bump it. Would that be appropriate?
No, because we have to do motion before discussion. And that's just a discussion topic. But we don't have a lot on our agenda.
So you don't need me for you to have a discussion with.
No, not, that was on if you guys wanted to attend
I'll
or
log in.
not. Okay,
We only got like 5 minutes. So it's gonna take.
I don't know, it'll be 5, but
Yeah, but it's 5 minutes at the end.
No, what we have in front of you.
Oh,
I know we have a couple motions.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
5 minutes is a polite guess, but.
Yeah. Be more generous, like 10 or 15 minutes. But
we'll get even with Mike and the assessor's office.
order number FY 25041. City Council, in order to repurpose funds from the high school capital building account to replace and upgrade boilers at Greenfield High School, the amount of $53,497. Move that it be ordered, the city council repurpose funds from the high school capital building account to replace and upgrade boilers at Greenfield High School in the amount of 53,497. Do I have a second for that?
Nothing.
All right. Is there discussion on this one?
did you talk to anybody about it?
Yeah, we talked about it at capital committee. This is, they were gonna need some work on the boilers as it were. And this seemed like a very smart way of leaving it. We're essentially repurposing money that's left over from when we built the high school. So you can't transfer it out to some different place
Right.
potentially,
Yeah,
but we can still use it at the same place that it was appropriated. So rather than having to use capital funding or borrowing or free cash,
yep.
that was kind of the gist of what, having this come in as a transfer order was given to us.
Is it basically maintenance or are they doing some kind of repair?
It was like a replacement of some, I don't know what component.
Okay,
There was-
that's
yeah,
fine. I'm
Something that wasn't like, your normal filters and,
Right,
and such. I asked that similar question.
thank you.
Because I expressed to them that normal maintenance can't be covered under a capital fund,
Right,
and it's not really, it's a chunk.
yep.
Um,
A couple folks joined.
all right. Is there any other discussion on that particular item? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of motion, of a vote to positively recommend it? That's the one. Aye. Say motion to approve, but. Good. It's third and final motion of the night, would be order number FY 25042, the city council upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger. In order to purchase fire department ladder truck for an amount not to exceed 1.9 million, with 1.6 million to be paid from capital stabilization account and 300,000 to be paid from the ambulance revolving account. Move that it be ordered that the city council purchase a fire department ladder truck for an amount not to exceed $1.9 million, with $1.6 million to be paid from capital stabilization account and 300,000 to be paid from the ambulance revolving account. Do I have a second?
Second, well, motion first.
Yep, I got it. Cool. Discussion on this one. Did you have the chief here if people have questions about this?
What happened to the old fire trucks, chief? Yes,
Come on up.
you got,
The water's fine.
yes, we're friendly.
Old fire trucks can be disposed of several different ways. Typically with the city, we trade it in with the truck that we get as part of the whole package.
But you have no idea how much that will be until you make the deal.
Correct. We got an estimate of, I've been looking online, sales from companies that do resale of fire trucks. Keep in mind, they get a commission on it. The vintage truck that we're looking at is about 25 to 50,000. We won't get 50,000. We'll get somewhere probably around the 25,000 mark. So the trade-in, I didn't include the trade in this because we may need every penny of the trade to get to the 1.9 that we're at. So it could be a challenge.
You remember how much they paid for that truck originally?
The current truck,
Yeah.
just shy of 700,000. Yep. The current truck that we have, if we were to replace it as is, take that truck, buy a new version of it, it's about 2.4 to 2.5. So this has been a long going process, and people that have been on city council will tell you that I've been telling city council since I took over as chief, we need to be prepared for this big purchase that's coming down the road. Every year when I did my budget, every year when I presented capital outlay, I said, this is to prepare us for the big purchase that's coming down the road. When we redid our whole fleet, we took a large expensive truck offline, combined it with another truck, bought a different style truck, and we saved about $1.3 million worth of purchasing when in that process of redefining our fleet. Did that And every time I said to the meeting, I'm doing this to prepare us for the big purchase coming down the road. It wasn't going to be a surprise. We tried for some alternatives. We tried pre-2000 to refurb the current truck, which would have bought us to about 2030 for the truck replacement. At the time, it was not something the city wanted to do. And so to do now, to buy an extra 5 years out of the truck would cost us about half of what it's going to cost us to buy the new truck. And we lose the truck for 6 months to a year while they refurb it. Doesn't make any sense. Another question that gets asked a lot is, who else has got a ladder truck? Turner's Falls has a ladder. Yeah, it's okay, because Turner's Falls has a ladder truck, Northfield has a ladder truck. South Deerfield has a ladder truck. City of Greenfield, for immediate response, because of the size buildings we have, needs to have its own ladder truck. Not only that, the ISO ratings, which affects everybody's insurance, requires any municipality that has buildings that are 3 or more stories. If you have more than 4 of them, you need to have a ladder truck, right? Everything in this area of town for the first half mile outside is all 3 stories or more. So it is required by our insurance rating to have one. And more importantly, it needs to be available for immediate response for life safety issues. The truck that we have proposed is not the original truck that was proposed and that was approved in the capital improvement committee that voted on it over a year ago. Because of changes, which they are what they are, that this actually was supposed to go on last year's budget, but the capital process got moved around, so it got pushed back. And the mayor did, I think she pulled out a lot of her hair trying to figure out how she was going to come up with funding for this. Because she committed to this process, but her and I had some really in-depth conversations where the 2.5 wasn't going to happen. We don't have the money, right? And we can't borrow the money for this project. So she was able to work closely with the finance director and come up with about $1.6 million. That's what they're putting forward. And that was the max that they could do. And so 300,000 of it is coming out of the ambulance revenue, which are receipts, which was going to hopefully repurpose for something else, but we have to use it to get this project done.
I have a question regarding it.
Yep.
You don't have to present it tonight.
Yep.
To do it in email. That revolving account, that's for ambulance rides to like the hospital, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
Do you have receipts for those? Can you provide how much
Yeah.
this past,
Yeah.
this fiscal year, what you brought in for that?
Sure. Yeah, it's easy to do.
Because I got an ambulance ride about a month ago. Well, my insurance company paid for it, but
Yeah.
I went from Cypress Street to Franklin Medical Center and it was almost $5,000. So
Not from us.
no, not from you guys, but that was from.
We don't charge as much. No, so I'm happy to do that. I know that is going to be an in-depth conversation when we get into budget next year. That's always brought up at Ways and Means, and we can have that discussion there. But there's absolutely, we get monthly statements from our billing company that shows what we've billed and what hasn't been collected, and this whole report.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to provide that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Chief, the ladder truck goes out on other calls, to other towns, obviously, to assist, the mutual aid. So if there's a fire in terms, you roll there with the ladder truck.
Sure.
And then alarm came out here at a 4-story building. Do you get penalized for not having the truck within 2 minutes if you're on a different call out of town?
No, there's no, other than you hope that.
It doesn't happen.
Right, and so you take a typical structure fire in Greenfield, and I'm gonna use a little bit of fire jargon here, but what we call our, it sounds terrible, but I'm gonna say it, bread and butter operations, which means is what we specialize in. We specialize in the 2.5-story wood frame, multiple family dwellings, which is all of this section of town.
Sure.
We typically put 2 ladders on that fire on different sides of the building. On larger buildings, we've had up to 4 ladders that have been assigned to the fire. The most we've had on a fire was 7 ladder trucks at a multi-family apartment building on Chapman Street. 7 ladder trucks. We have 4 or 5 in the county. So yes, we do share. I know when the Brooks block burnt up in Brattleboro about about 12 years ago now, they had 12 ladders working that. So yeah, it could be out of town. What we do is if Turner's and Greenfield's ladder get tied up at a same incident, we will pull in a ladder mutual aid to cover the 2 cities. And so it kind of bounces down.
Sure.
So you could have Northampton covering Greenfield and Turner's, and then East Hampton or Amherst is covered. And so
Gotcha.
we have a statewide procedures that make sure that we have coverage when we need it.
Yeah.
This new truck, although it doesn't have the platform, which is the working platform that the firefighters are accustomed to, it's just a straight ladder, which is going to be a change. There's only 2 firefighters that remember how to work off of a straight stick, myself and another one. But we will train and we will work to that. That's a little bit of a disadvantage. But there are some advantages to the truck that we're getting. It's a single axle. It's 107 feet versus 100 foot. So we get 7 feet. That doesn't sound like a lot. It's huge on a ladder. The gallons of water go from 250 to 500. That doesn't sound like a lot. At a fire, that's a lot. So we're going to use this truck in a little bit different capacity than we've used the old ladder truck. The old ladder truck was primarily used strictly as a truck company, as a ladder truck company. This truck can be more versatile. And so if we have a two-piece response to an alarm, and now one of the trucks has to break away to handle another alarm or a fire call or whatever, this truck will be able to do that as well. So it gives us some capabilities. What are the ramifications if we don't do it now? I've been asked by my own folks, what if we took the money, the 1.9, and put it in a bank and let it grow, and then maybe we could get, the platform down the road? The simple answer is that doesn't make any sense from a financial standpoint. We take money, we put it in the bank, your return's going to be 2.5 if you're lucky. Right? The truck is going up 3% minimum every quarter. That's what we've seen the last 3 years. That's what we're continuing to see. On a car, that's expensive. On a $1.9 million, it's unattainable. Right? So that doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. If we push this purchase off, we have an engine creeping up right behind it now. Right? That engine is going to need to be replaced in the next 5 to 8 years. By having another pump, it gives us a little capacity, that gives us a little breathing room, but eventually that truck is going to be replaced. An engine right now to replace the same engine that we bought a few years ago is 1.2. I don't understand it, but all the manufacturers are like that and they're seeing more increases. Their steel prices keep going up, the electronics keep going up, everything that builds the truck. It's not like a mass-produced car that you would buy on a lot. These trucks are custom built. Every bolt, every screw, everything is custom made and manufactured that way. So the $1.9 million for the truck that we want has a couple caveats with it. After, I hope it's approved tomorrow night, we will work with our dealer through our manufacturer that we use, and they have a stock program, which means that they have cookie cutter trucks that they build that you can't make a lot of changes to. So like our engine, we built from the ground up every aspect of that truck and designed it and worked with engineers. This one's kind of more of a cookie cutter truck. Why is that important from a cost saving standpoint? Because when they build out their list, they put in certain amount of stock trucks into their line, right? They put that and engineer it 2 years ago, year and a half to 2 years ago. So they buy all the parts and all the metal and everything that they need for that truck 2 years ago. And so the cost of that truck is lower than if you buy it and spec it out today as a brand new truck. The other caveat to that is they only release 3 or 4 of them nationwide every month. And so we may not be successful in obtaining, getting our name into that stock program. Keeping our fingers crossed, but it's that tight of a budget with this. I'm not used to operating that way, but that's the way that we're gonna be purchasing this truck. We will buy a good, state-of-the-art, safe, maneuverable, and an appropriate truck for the city of Greenfield. There's just a lot of moving parts with this particular purchase.
Let me ask you the favorite question you get all the time and don't hit me when I ask it. The engine's gonna fit in the fire department, in the fire station. I asked this just because, someone's gonna ask to say that cynically.
So if I can, this truck is smaller lengthwise than the current truck. So current truck fits just fine.
I just want to echo what the chair said at the beginning of the meeting. I don't know if it was on the recorder or not. You did a great job presenting your argument.
Thank you.
When I first saw the thing, I'm thinking, oh my God. But when I read how you presented it and what you just told us, it's impressive. You've done your work, you've done your research, you've answered all the questions you anticipated being asked. It's an impressive presentation. I want to thank you for all the work you put into that because it was impressive.
It's a big ask and it's a large sum of money that it doesn't fall lightly on me that the fire department has been recipients for, a firehouse and new trucks. That's not lost on me. My job is still that I have to advocate for stuff that we need for the firehouse and for the fire station and to do our job. And this is an absolute need. And like I said, I've been working on this project since I took over as chief 12 years ago, leading up to this. But at the end of the day, I'm asking for a lot of money. We got to make sure that you understand exactly why the ask is there. And we looked at all other alternatives. I looked at buying used trucks. I looked at refurbing trucks. We've done a lot of work into coming up with the most cost-effective solution. And I'll be honest with you, my people aren't necessarily happy with the fact that we're going from a platform to a straight stick, right? I've had to tell the folks in-house, but at the end of the day, my job as the fire chief is to provide them the best equipment that we can to do their job, to provide it for the citizens and their safety, for everybody and the citizens, but also I don't operate as a single department. I operate as part of a collective, bigger city.
Yep.
And there's just no cost-effective way or to get to where we need to go without going through this process. So I would like to ask you for 2.5, right? To replace a truck with what, but at the end of the day, the city doesn't have it. And I know that. This will do the job just as well, just as safe, and just as efficient, and have more efficiencies that we don't have now.
And what's the lifespan on this truck?
20 to 25 years. Yep.
Anybody else?
Pretty much it's all mine.
Sorry, John.
I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know typically questions aren't allowed to be asked of the department heads but I'm happy tomorrow. I will be there tomorrow night if any other questions come up, if anybody has concerns.
No, I'm sure there will be. I would like to believe that, other people on something that's considered the hot topic of the month would tune in. Or maybe watch it before tomorrow night's meeting, but past history doesn't Didn't give me much faith in that. So you'll probably get some repeat questions tomorrow evening.
Happy. This is a big purchase. It shouldn't be taken lightly.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that is, I don't mean to sound preachy, but that's your guy's job. That's what you should, I'm happy to answer them.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Good job.
Coach, it's not less than respectful to ask questions. I'm coining that. I'm gonna take that phrase with me. All right, cool. So I guess we can vote on the recommendation at this point. All those in favor of sending a positive recommendation? Aye. Aye. That. Cool. So we're over that. On to the next portion is discussion. Jim, if you'd like to join us, the Board of Assessors wanted to have us here to discuss the potential for the increase of the tax exemption amounts allowable for the current state regulations. So this is on the individual exemption, right? Yep. Okay. Which is different than the other ones we've talked about a couple of months past, in case, the heavy viewership out there is talking about how we had gone over the other exemption possibilities.
Yes.
And discussions about that. So this is a discussion we have not had.
These are recommendations.
Exactly. Okay. So I will let you.
Are those copies?
Yeah, and you should have a copy.
Oh, I thought this was multiple pages. I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was all multiple pages.
Tanya said it'd be your turn. That's why you think my job. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I should
I
have.
saw my name. It was on the top, so I just.
Oh, there's my name.
Different from those, yeah. But I guess not.
Okay. Okay, I guess the net is, if you did all these things, there would not be much effect on the overlay account. So that's sort of the sum and
Do you
substance.
like go each bullet point by bullet point for?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
This was Chuck Green and Susan Wargapik. The 17, this deals with the whole estate maximum, and that's been capped at, I don't know the number frankly, but there's a cost of living adjustment that, we could build into that. And the COLA is set by the state. Ditto for the exemption amount. There's a maximum percentage that you can go up to based on the COLA, and the recommendation here is to use the COLA to come up with the maximums. On the hardship, these are temporary hardship deferrals, 3 years. And we could reduce the interest rate from 8% down to as low as 3%. Again, I think we only have 1 or 2 hardship deferrals. And I could say more about that, but I won't, because it's not relevant to this particular discussion. The veterans, what you see is what we're recommending. I don't know if Chuck ran the numbers on the number of surviving parents that there would be. I'm not sure how many veterans exemptions we give right now. It's probably in the order of, and this is just a guess, 40 or 50.
And would that exemption that would extend to them, that would only be on the property that the veteran owned? So it would have to be willed to the parents in the first place for this to even.
I believe that's correct. Senior deferral, the interest rate goes down. The gross receipts limit on 41A. Right now, I think it's 20,000 or something like that. It's just ridiculously low. And what we would do is raise it to the amount where when people fall below that amount, the circuit breaker tax exemption kicks in, and I think that's like 69,000 or something like that. And then the seniors, the qualifying age, dropping it from 67 to 65. I ran some numbers on that, and there were like a dozen cases. And I think it came out to be 5,000 or something like that.
Do you know why it was 67 to begin with?
I can't speak for the
Okay.
legislature.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of this is not a given. People have to file for the exemption themselves, correct? So,
Yes, that's correct.
and that's what you guys is doing with a bunch of the outreach that you have, is letting people know their
Yes,
availability
Yep.
and what they might qualify for. So
that's correct.
it's not like this would just get this huge influx
No,
overnight anyway.
no, I mean, you do have to apply for it. And, you know, we've, as I think you know, because we told you before, you know, we did a couple of sessions at GCC.
Mhm.
Chuck and I do monthly sessions, him at the senior center, me at the library, and we make ourselves available. I can tell you, I'm disappointed in what I've seen at the library, which is my own computer and nobody else,
Oh.
you know, but it gives me good time to reflect on the state of the world. But I would like to see more people take advantage of that.
Well, I asked the question not for myself personally, because you have explained this
Yeah.
to us. I was saying it more so it could be
No, that's,
said to the.
no, that's just fine. I mean, I think, you know, the more people we have coming at us with questions, I think the better off we all are. We're reviled throughout the community, and
Yeah.
we'd like to curry favor some.
Good luck. You got the word tax in your name.
But anyhow, that's where we
You
are.
could change it to the tariff collectors department.
The tariff,
That seems to be going over real well.
yeah, that's right. The old home place burned down.
Yeah,
Right. Tariffs to public pay. Can I help in any other way? Let me just comment on one thing, and this is ex cathedra for us. Given the uncertainty in federal funds, I think any of these options, we ought to, even though they have a minimal impact on the overlay, we just don't know what sort of hell is going to break loose. And I might defer this to maybe a year, you know, certainly in 26, but maybe even 27. But let's see how things shake out. And I think we'll be in a much better position to do this. Also, our personal property work that yielded the 250,000 that affected the tax rate. We want to maintain that so that maybe the hit won't be quite as bad. You know, the indirect hit through, you know, the feds through the state to us.
But we potentially could do some of these if we wanted to too. We
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to do all of them.
No, that is correct. I think, you know, the qualifying age, you know, even though I can't remember the numbers, I know I ran them. It was insignificant. And to the extent that that's helpful, sure. I mean, our objective is really to keep people in their houses. And that, you know, the hardship deferral is, you know, I suppose the most drastic thing one can do. That's only for 3 years. And, you know, what do you do after 3 years? How do you entertain the, you know, the exemption application? do we want to be in the credit counseling business and say, hey, your expenses are a little high here, really? Get rid of that Rivian truck and the lease payments, But after 3 years, if people continue to have a hardship, don't know what to do.
You can't extend it.
So 3 years only.
I don't hate that. I'm just gonna say I don't hate that.
No,
I like that. I think we should have a little bit more of those limitations on certain programs we have.
agree.
But ultimately, the city council is going to vote on this,
Right.
correct?
If we get an order,
Right.
we've got,
I have a question because it pertains to me and I would have to recuse myself.
Okay.
correct.
Which one of these is the exemption, the abatement for disabled vets? Which number is this? Because
I'm not sure. I think it is.
it's either I or J, right?
Not.
I or J?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, I gotta find that out.
Yeah.
I can't vote on that.
Yeah, I can look it up for you and
I'm sure like if the order comes through for it, it'll have more detail to exactly
What we're voting
what's
on.
being changed, the
Yeah.
wording will be changed.
but we're doing our best to lighten the load for people where, well, the veterans in particular, where they picked up a big part of the load. And some of them paid for it quite dearly. And we want to make sure that they're in good shape. The rest of it is really mandated by the legislature. And we have a little bit of flexibility, which is what's laid out here. And it's nice if we can exercise the flexibility without causing hardship throughout the town.
You were gonna try to say you were really looking forward to that 65.
Yeah, no,
That's nothing what.
you don't understand. That's the age limit. You can't reduce it.
Yeah, well,
Set me up, dude. You
Yeah.
keep me right up to that.
all right. I'm not buying you a beer.
Okay.
But Mike, I'll shoot you.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'll do it through you and then you can distribute it.
Sure. Let's send it to.
Oh, okay.
Send it to him, I'll never get.
I'm glad this is such a collegial body.
It's all business here.
All business. Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Thanks for your time.
we don't have anything. Okay,
We have the budget schedule.
FY budget meeting schedule for us. So I did get an email. They're not here to chastise me for not giving them a solid answer on this. So Tammy had sent over kind of a preview. She was asking about setting these up and kind of reminding me the format that I used last year.
I kind of liked that.
Yeah, I think she sent it to all of us. I saw
Oh, she
that.
did send it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so we saw the meetings that we
Right.
had last year. Yeah.
I believe because it was a big change from prior years, and that would be back when you were on here with me. When we had like 10 meetings a month, which was ridiculous for me. So if I remember it correctly, we had one meeting for capital. And I think after being on capital committee this year, I wasn't on, wait, I was on capital committee last year. What we got out of the 3 meetings that we had there with presentations and backup and such, I don't see there being a big problem with being able to get that done in one sitting.
No.
Ginny, since you're there, I don't know if you guys can get the copy of kind of that budget or the capital budget sheet.
Yes, that,
If we could get a copy for these guys before we meet at that, so they can kind of go over it.
certainly, that's a good idea. We can do that.
Cool, thank you. And then, so that would be in March. We would have one meeting in March. It will probably be, I mean, Tuesdays kind of work for you guys. I mean, you know, it's on a Tuesday. If we need to, and we don't have like a huge, we don't have to set the meeting date right now.
Didn't we do it in two last year?
We did capital and one we did operating in, I believe, two.
Yeah.
And then I believe we did our deliberations the same night as our regular meeting, if I remember correctly, but don't hold me to that. But I know there was no more than three for operating. But that one is a little bit thicker, right? We're covering everything. But I think for capital, and we can always set this at the chair's agenda at the beginning of March. If we can get those books relatively soon, and you know, I can reach out to you guys like, I don't know, in a week or so before, and you have a chance to kind of look it over. And we can see what's on the agenda for, I can talk with John and Laura about what is probably going to be coming up on March's regular meeting. If it's not looking packed, we could maybe just use that night as our capital discussion and get it done without having to add an extra night. And then operating, we're obviously not gonna be able to do that one night, but I'm not, again, I didn't do this last year. I invited all department heads that had put in capital they could attend for questions if we had them, if they chose to, but I'm not wanting presentations, because if you would like to see their presentations, please feel free to go back and look at the recorded meetings of the capital committee, because they've already been done. I don't want them to have to do the same thing twice. And probably any questions that you had might have been answered, and if not, ask them at that meeting if they decide to attend to listen. And I will let rec go first on this one. They got stuck in last a couple meetings, so we'll let them go first this time. But yes, that's my thoughts on the capital ones. Like I said, the operating ones, there's going to need to be a couple in April. So we can bring, if I remember the timeline, I know we switched it around a little bit, but I believe we're still voting on that in May. But because Judy, remind me if you do remember, I know we moved it out to a finite date of like, I believe it was like April 21st.
Right.
Right.
That it had to be to you, and then you had to vote, and I don't have it in front of me either, Council Trent. But
We gave you extra time.
But you have extra time as well. 'Cause
Also,
it gets us
right.
all closer to where we are in that
Right.
fiscal year.
Right, so you had to get it to us, I believe, by March 31st.
I believe that's
And
still.
then that's why we had them in April and we would vote on them in May.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe what we changed was that we kind of met in the middle, that you would have till the 21st of April to get it to us, and we could then do our meetings. So it might be more the end of April, beginning of May. So we could vote on it at the May meeting if we were ready, but we still had June in case there were issues, was what we changed in that language last year, I believe.
Right.
I'll double check that, but I believe that's how we set it up. So we could have, second shot at it if something was really becoming an issue, because we do have to approve it before the end of June. But I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that structure.
I do have a request. Tuesdays are not an issue, 6 o'clock meetings. There's certain days of the week, evenings of the week, getting here for 6 is like tight for me.
Okay. I mean, same.
Those,
Later for me is better anytime, but
once we decide when we're gonna have those budget meetings,
Mhm.
maybe we can figure out a start time.
sure. I'm agreeable with that. Jody, do you have weight restrictions?
Look at me like.
No. Well, I thought you were trying to move him up. I'm trying to.
No.
Fine.
No, I don't move them up. I told, when I did capital, I was like, you guys, 5:30 is like the earliest, and that was a stretch. Like I was just making it there through the door. So I'm certainly not gonna request it to be earlier. I don't know if any of you.
No, later would be better. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay. Sure. Cool, then I'll put, like I said, I'll get this timeline, like, right now, we can just figure out the capital one for this month and like I said, hopefully we can just do it on our regular full meeting. And if like I said, I'll clarify that code change or whatever you want to say, rules change we did last year with the timeline. And then when it comes to setting up the operating ones, I'll put some feelers out to you guys on what, give you some dates. I'm not doing a doodle poll. Can't stand that thing. Please, no one ever put in a doodle poll again. I'll just, there's 5 of us,
right.
I'll give you a call or send you a message. And well, also, I know we don't have this on our agenda, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because we don't have a spot in here for like new business. But I'd also like to point out to folks that I would be looking for someone to take the reins of chair away from me. I'm totally amicable with kind of, helping out and co-sharing. And I've kind of been asked to stick around through this tougher part of the season. But if anybody's got, maybe a hint of willingness to do that for the remainder of the year, like I said, I'm more than willing to help out and I'm maybe like co-chair throughout, especially the more difficult process. But I don't know, maybe think about I don't know, structuring how you would structure a meeting. I don't know, just putting it out there because, yeah. But anyway, that I just wanted to say. But our next meeting, as of right now, is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 at 6 p.m. right here at City Hall, meeting room, 2nd floor, and Zoom hybrid unless otherwise posted. And with that in mind, I would take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're adjourned at 6:48 p.m. Thank you, folks, out in the ether.